I want to start with doing introductions, so I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Professor Newton. April, we're going to need you. I'm Professor Newton. I'm actually a poli-sci and women's studies professor, but I've taken on this new job, which is called a College Academic Life Coordinator for Vanier College. And part of what motivated me is you. That the students who struggle the most in first year often are undecided majors for one reason or another, as we'll get to see. You've got different challenges. And I'm very committed to pedagogy, I'm very committed to teaching. I care deeply about students, I care deeply about your first year experience, wanting to make it a better experience for you. So I agreed to take on this extra job. And me and April will be running these workshops for you. If you have any feedback you want to give us on how it works for you, or if it doesn't match your needs, let us know. Now I'm going to let April, why don't you come introduce yourself, April?
Hi everyone, I'm April Walker. I'm the Undecided Major Advisor and also the Advisor for Children's Studies. I sent out a listserv last week just introducing myself to you all. I'm also going to be providing you with a list of hours. I have drop-in hours and I also have appointment hours. So when you get that, I think you already picked up the handout. It actually specifies my hours, I think page number 2 under the links. So if you want to meet with me just to talk about programs or what kind of grade point average you need to have, or even any other kind of requirements that you might need for a program that you're interested in, you can set up an advising appointment, or you can just come in during my walk-in hours.
Yeah. And April's going to be here through this workshop. There's many times when she has expertise that I don't. Like I can't answer questions about what requirements do I need for program X, but April is the answer queen when it comes to those kinds of things. So that's us. Now I want to get a sense of who you are. So maybe we could start with just an introduction of, who you are, what kind of program you're in or want to be in or don't know what you want to be in, and maybe from where you come, like if you've got a particular academic trajectory that got you here. Could you tell us a little bit about that? So who wants to start? Someone in the middle, someone in the, okay, we're going to start with your grinning, and why don't you just get us started? Sorry, your name?
My name is Nisha.
Nisha, okay. Okay. Okay, but you can't choose between. Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Nisha. Yeah, next. No, yeah. And that's probably because there's so many requirements for each. Okay. So you're torn, and you hope this year you'll be able to make up your mind. Yeah. Thank you, Katrina. Isabel. You're aiming for sociology. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
So my name is Akita, and I'm actually in the Business and Society major here at Vanier College.
You're a BUSO major, and you're a peer mentor. Oh, I didn't notice the T. Sorry, Akita. Okay, so Akita is special, and we're going to talk about her. She's going to come up, and if she's so great to volunteer to do this. She's got a blue T-shirt on. You want to show them your blue tee? Because this is something we've designed. Aha, there you go. If you're cold, it says peer mentor. We'll talk about her in a moment about what role she gets to play. But yeah, she's already found a program, and she's an upper level student who's actually here volunteering to be a student mentor. And we've got a team of 45 people dedicated to being peer mentors and helping you with any questions you have. So thank you, Akita. Sorry, say that again? Suleha? Okay. Whoa, good combination. Yeah, so you're torn, and they're sort of in different programs. That's great. do you want to add we're just doing introductions. Who are you? What program of study are you in or want to be in? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Sorry, say that again? Global Health, okay. And there isn't a program called Global Health, is there? Or it's news to me? It's in the Faculty of Health. Okay, got it. Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Cosmos. And our last guest, we're just introducing ourselves and explaining what program of study we want to be in.
So my name is Kafilat.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been undecided, and I've been thinking about I know I want something in the healthcare business, but I'm not sure which.
Perhaps health, but you're not sure. Yeah, okay. So we understand the indecision here in the room. Okay, so just briefly listening to your stories, I get that it's a challenge to be in your shoes. That it's hard because how many of you are just out of high school? Yeah, and some have come a little late. There's been a pause before you got here. For the ones coming out of high school, it's a challenge because you hardly had a chance to breathe before you were told you've got to make a decision that maybe will face the rest of your life, and how do you make that choice, and you don't know much about those disciplines because you haven't had a chance to experience them yet. So it is a challenge, and I'm going to talk today about I'll give you the overview of what we're going to talk about. I'm going to go into some of those challenges of how do we think about them, if these are helpful ways of thinking about those challenges. We're going to do a session on knowing yourself where you're going to have to do some individual work on just reflecting on who you are and how that might influence or shape the choices you're going to make. And then I'm going to talk about making meaningful connections, which is incredibly important for you to land on your feet in this first year of university. You're going to have to be proactive in reaching out and making connections, and I'm here to help you, guide you through what are the kinds of connections you need to make. So let me begin with this challenge of you're undecided, and you know from all the communications you've gotten from York that you're going to have to make a decision by the end of this year and move into a major. So I want to start by reassuring you that indecision's really common, that you are not unusual, that 50% of York majors, even the ones who come in thinking they know their major, they change their mind, right? So even though you've been given this undecided label, which we know is kind of offensive and we're working on changing it, we're going to call it just undeclared, and that I think has a little less of a ring to it. We're working on that process. So, but most students who come to university in first year, they really, even though they've picked a major, they're not sure, and half of them change their mind anyhow. So in a way, you're in this rich position where you're much more, in a focused way, having to think about what do I really want to do? And instead of just picking any, I'll take that one, you've picked this option that says I need time to think about it. So we're here to help you think about it. And I'm going to talk about, how many of you did you start? Just curious. Anyone really involved? Okay, so this may be familiar for you. Isabel, yeah? It might be familiar for you. The others, okay. So we can talk about three different, they've done surveys of undecided majors, and we can talk about three different sort of, if you think of it as a journey where your destination is the career you ultimately want to have at the end of your degree, you've got three types of kind of journeys that you may be on. And I want you to think a little bit about which one fits you. So one is the wannabes. These are the people who come to York knowing that they want to do a particular program of study, but they've been told by the university you don't have, I don't know, the math requirement to be in that program. So we can't put you there, meanwhile you're going to park you in undecided major. Or your grades aren't quite what that program requires, so we're going to park you in undecided majors, and you get a year to bring your grades up so that you can actually move into the program you want to be in. So you're not undecided, right? It's a bad name for you. Those students who we call wannabes, you've got a very clear sense of where you want to be. You're just on a detour to get there. And so one of the ways we want to support you, if that's your case, is we want to help you with making sure, and this will be April, making sure you get the right degree requirements under your belt so that you can move into that program, and making sure that we support you in your grade objectives, right? So that if there's challenges around getting that grade, we want to help you, support you in that. So that's the first type, is a wannabe. I don't think in all your stories, did I hear a wannabe story? I heard more hedgers, fork in the road. I want to do this, maybe that. I heard some of your stories are kind of, I maybe want to do this, I maybe want to do that. I can't make up my mind. They both look appealing. Can I combine them? No, they're telling me I can't. Now what do I do? Okay, so the hedger is one who's really pulling at two different strings and not quite figuring out which ones they want, the programs they want into. April is going to be your best friend in that dilemma, because she might be able to help you negotiate if they say you can't do a double major, or you can't, maybe she can talk to you about ways that you can get some of that content, and we'll talk about that a little later, also about how you could build in some of those other things that you're interested in. And then these are, the third category is wonderful. They're explorers. They're just like, it's kind of, you're at a buffet and there is so much food and you don't know what to eat. You just put everything on your plate. Like, I'll take a little bit of everything, thank you. And then you find maybe at the end of the meal you ate too much. And maybe there was one thing that was really worth it. But until you kind of went through that experience, you can't make up your mind. Right? Those are the explorers, or if we use the travel metaphor, you just want to go everywhere in the world. You have travel brochures from every continent before you can make up your mind, and then you're torn because once you go there, you wish you'd also gone there. Those explorers, they're really curious, and they have trouble saying, I'm going to stay with this one because that looks good too. I want to do that as well. That's also interesting. So maybe I'll just pause for a minute. You've got a worksheet, this green one. It says the activity sheet 1. I want you to stop for a minute, and in pairs, if you could pair up with someone, and we've got, actually we're going to have threes at some point because we're not evenly divided. But I want you to, there's your kind of 3 different types. Pair up with someone or triple up and just have a discussion about what type do you think you are, or did we get it wrong? Maybe we haven't captured your type. Maybe there's a different type we need to add to the list. Do you want to do that? Have you all got this one? Yeah, okay. Take a few minutes, look at the questions, and share with your partner what type of unmai, and then interview each other. Okay? And here you've kind of quieted down. So you've gone through that exercise. Has everybody found, we can turn around now, has everybody kind of been able to figure out, do these categories, are they meaningful to you? How many of you fit the kind of the wannabe, the people who are detoured? Are there some who are on a detour? Yeah? Okay. So Isabel's on a detour. Anyone else feeling they're on a detour? Yeah. Okay. So some of you are in that category. What about the hedger or the fork in the road? You've got 2 different things. Yeah? Okay. Okay. A few more. It's interesting. So how many feel explorer? Yeah, okay. So you're all kind of got some different reasons for being in that undecided group. Do you have questions? Having just gone through this, are there questions you want to ask of April or me before we proceed? Having gone through that. Yeah.
What's the difference between like a double major and a major minor?
Ah, you asked prescient questions. I'm about to talk about that. That's brilliant. Okay. So the idea is you've all got different paths to follow, and we're going to talk about how do you negotiate figuring out those paths. So April, you're up. We're going to do this together. So you look at that. How prescient, right? So one of the things you can do is if you're torn between 2 choices, you can do, you want to move over because that light's brutal. You can choose something like a double major or a major minor. Now, do you want to talk a little bit about what are some of the constraints and how that could work out,
Sure.
given the different choices people talked about?
Okay, so for example, when you're doing an honors program, you have to fulfill 120 credits. So with a double major, you're basically doing between 42 to 48 credits in one major, and then 42 to 48 credits in another major. So when you add those two up, it's about almost 100 credits just in major credits alone, right? So all you would have left to do on top of that is your general education requirements. So doing a double major doesn't give you the option to do credits that you can do for fun or for choice credits, like electives, students usually call it, but we call it free choice credits. And free choice is basically you're free to do courses in whatever faculty that you want. So with the double major, you're kind of you're restricted from doing that. And with a major minor, you're still doing your major credits, which is between usually 42 to 48 credits, but then the minor gives you an option to fulfill about 30 to 36 credits in your minor. So you do have the sort of ability to do free choice credits, so credits that are free for you to do whatever you want in. So you're not as restricted, but with one single major where you're just kind of concentrating on just one major and doing 42 credits, you have that ability to do free choice credits. But what ends up happening with a lot of students is with the free choice credits, they might want to concentrate on just one area, and then it ends up being a minor or a double major. So that's really the difference.
So you could go sort of out of that comes three strategies. One is if you're really torn between two things, to try to work out doing a double major. April will be the one you talk to. You can pick up minor. So in your first year, you would then pick up a course from this and a course from that, right? So that you've got a foothold in both of those areas. So now April's going to talk about streams, because that's another way that you can kind of pick up more than one. Maybe we'll just talk into it.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to add a point with the double major and the major minor. So you have to be in honors standing in order to declare a double major or a major minor, meaning you have to be in a 120 credit program. You cannot do that with a 90 credit program, which is just a regular BA. So a good thing about the regular BA, though, is in our faculty, we give students the opportunity to do certificates. So, for example, if you, so for example, if you don't have the honors standing GPA, grade point average, which is a C plus 5.0, and you're in the 90 credit program, that allows you to have a grade point average of at least a 4.0, which is a C. And that gives you the opportunity to do certificates. So for example, if you wanted to do human resources and you didn't have the 5.0 GPA to declare it as an honors, what you can do is you could take an undergraduate degree in, for example, in a 90 credit program like social science, and then add a certificate in human resources management that would satisfy the human resources criteria. With respect to streams now, we have certain programs in our faculty where students have to declare a stream, and basically streams are just a way of saying you want to focus your program on a certain point of area or concentration. And our example is business and society. That's a good program to use as an example because, well, we have a student in business and society here, and also because that's one of our most popular programs in our faculty as well. And both 90 credit program and also the 120 credit program allows students to pick 2 streams. So there's 6 streams to pick from. Some of the streams are business ethics and corporate responsibility. We have law and governance, the firm and organization. We have the economy stream. We have the global economy stream, and we have the social economy stream. So basically, students pick 2 streams, and then they do credits towards those 2 streams. And another popular program that we have where students would have to declare a stream is, for example, administrative studies. So it's only our 120 credit option that has that stream option available for them. But basically, students do 33 credits towards a stream. Like, for example, some of our students go on to specialize in accounting or finance. A lot of our students do marketing or they do management. So we have quite a bit of programs where you can have a stream and you can do concentration within those streams.
Fantastic. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about, oh, yeah, we got a question.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part. If you have 24 credits, if you don't, okay, if you don't have 24 credits. Oh, yes, yeah. You can switch your major providing that you have the program eligibility to get into that program. So if you have under 24 and you want, for example, administrative studies, you just have to make sure that within the less than 24 credits, you have your math requirement, your 12U advanced function math, for example, or you have the grade point average you need to get into that program, which would be 5.0, which is a C+. So just as long as you don't have to have 24 credits to declare something. We just let you know that by the time you hit the 24th credit, you need to declare a major, but you can declare it sooner than that, yeah.
Is it Katrina? No, I blew it. Sorry, Manisha. No, I blew it again. Why don't you just speak?
I was wondering about like switching faculties.
Sorry, about switching faculties.
They would just look at like your university marks, or do they also look at your high school marks again to see?
It all depends on the faculty that you're going to switch into. You just got to know what the requirements it is to switch to that faculty. They're not really going to look at your high school marks. What they're going to do is they're going to look at your university marks. So they're going to look at this to see what your grade point average is.
Courses are like completely unrelated. Like say I'm going to switch into the science faculty and I have mostly like
Good question.
business classes and stuff.
Well, with switching to science, you have to make sure that you have your grade 12 science courses. Like, yeah, as long as you have that, then they will make a decision based on having that high school program requirements and also your GPA to get into the program.
Okay. I'm going to talk about a couple of different paths that you can thank you, April. You know things. I hate holding this, so I'm going to, oh no, that's not going to work. Okay, I guess I have to hold it. So I'm going to talk about a couple other things that you can think about when you're choosing courses or when you're, thinking about, you're already in courses now, but if you can pick up something in January or for next year or for the summer. I want to talk about experiential education. York is really moving aggressively to offer courses where you can actually kind of experience the discipline instead of sitting in a lecture and taking notes, kind of like what we're doing to you now. And I clicked on this website. You don't worry about the links. They're all in the handout we gave you, so you can follow this up later on. And you can check out current courses. So this is a list of all the courses that LAMPS has identified that actually have an experiential component, where you actually, for example, I teach a course in political science, an upper level course, where my students actually work with NGOs. It's called Advocacy in Canadian Democracy. So they actually work in groups with an NGO and produce a project for that NGO, and they get to learn about how to do advocacy as well as having the real life experience of a project that an NGO really wants them to do, right? So that's an example. So that might be something else that if you're considering an option, but you don't know what it's going to feel like to be in that discipline, you might reach out for courses that have experiential education component. Now, when I looked at this list, I don't see a single poli-sci course on here, but I know that we have 5 or 6 that do experiential education. So this list is not complete. So if you're considering a program, that might be a good question to ask. Do you have any experiential courses in this program that might give you a better sense of what is it like to practice in this discipline? What would the actual, practice look like in this discipline? And now I just lost here we go. So that's one additional thing you might want to look at. And there's also international experience as well. And again, I've included the link to this. So you have options in some programs to study abroad. And I was speaking with the Associate Dean. The LMPS will actually help subsidize your travel, the tuition and some of the costs of doing international. So you may have to pay for your airfare, but in terms of the tuition while you're there, so yes, it's going to cost a bit more, but the experience and value added. And these would be are York courses. They're taught by York faculty, but they're taught abroad in different places. So if that's another area of curiosity, I'm thinking of the explorers here, the people who, or curious. This might be also something you would want to look into. Let me go back to the PowerPoint slide. So I'm going to, I'm mindful of the time, so I'm going to skip to, we have a handout, and maybe April, it's the handout that is the interview, the student interview with the student. I'm going to ask my peer mentor to come out and volunteer. You have to leave when exactly? Sorry, okay. So why don't you bring up a chair, or you can stand. Here, I'll let you stand. You will mic you up and everything. So do you see the handout that says, student interview form? Everybody see that? Yeah, she's handing it out. Okay, we're gonna pin you up. It goes like this. There we go. You're hooked.
Thank you.
Okay. There's my roughly, I obviously didn't do a very good mapping of the names of people. So we have I can't, sorry, it's not going to catch it on the mic.
Oh.
I'll have to do this intro. So we have, I'm sort of reversing the order of things. We have a peer mentor program, as I told you, 45 peer mentors. Akita is volunteered to come and be our sample peer mentor. And they are going to be reaching out to you. Are going to be getting an email from a peer mentor, like Akita, who is going to reach out and ask you, how are you doing? What questions do you have? Come and visit me. We have a peer mentor office as you came into Vanier College. It's just to the right where that big TV screen is. That's the peer mentor office. It's going to be open 5 days a week. We've booked almost all of the hours are open from 9:30 to 6:30. So even if it's after class and you want to drop by, you can drop by any time to talk to any peer mentor. If you've got questions about anything to do with your courses, we want you to be successful. But in particular, you are going to be assigned, like one peer mentor will be assigned to you. So when you hear them reach out to you, don't blow them off. You can ask really good questions. And what I've given you here is a sample form of the kinds of questions you might ask that might actually really help you in thinking through, because sometimes I say, here's someone to talk to, and you think, well, what do I say to you? I don't know what to say. Well, I'm giving you some guidance here on this form of the kinds of questions you might want to ask, and Akita has volunteered to answer some of those questions. So there you go. We'll pin you on again.
Sorry.
There.
There you go.
Go for it.
Hi. So do you guys have any questions you'd like to ask me, I guess? I guess I'll give you a little introduction about myself. So my name is Ankita, and I'm a third-year Business and Society major. When I was looking through the three things, if you're a crossroad, a fork, or a detour, I'm definitely a crossroad. I want to, just experience everything, learn so many courses as once as possible. And that's why I kind of chose BUSO, because you can actually just choose streams of what you kind of like and just explore. So in my program itself, I have like social science courses, political science courses, political science courses, ADMS courses. It's so versatile that I just love it, because I just love learning new things and just exploring. But that's a little bit of myself. Do you have any questions maybe from that?
This is your chance to ask questions.
Yeah. Anything?
Just like you said, I taking courses in the humanities and all general education
Yeah.
courses right now because still undecided.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still thinking I want something in the healthcare, but just like I spoke to you earlier, I don't like calculation.
Yeah.
That's why general education is all I can handle right now. I just wanted to see if, and none of those classes is pointing to a specific direction for me. So I know in 1 year I have to decide. So I'm not sure where I am in any of this.
From my personal experience, I know first year courses are very broad, so it's very hard to, pinpoint, is this course right for me? Is this, I totally understand what you're feeling. Like my first year when I was in the BUSO program, I was like, is this for me? Like, I don't know, like I like business, but is this something I need to do? Is this something that fits my personality? I think go with the program, just look at how it goes. It will Throughout the year, you'll see, you know, is this for me? Is this strengths that will fit me? Is there another course at York that's more? No, I know, exactly. So it's, the Gen Ed's one of those things that, sorry, that is perfect like that. You can just learn, you know, if that's something fits me, I guess. I think that's one thing I like about York is that, or even a lot of schools, that you have to do a certain Gen Ed, just force you to broaden out your wings, you know, just see other courses that are available at your school. But yeah, sorry, I don't know if I really answered your question.
Other questions?
Yeah, feel free to ask anything, even those questions on the sheet. I welcome. Anything? Yeah, go ahead. Deciding a program? Oh, okay. I would say something you're really, really interested in. And just know what type of learner you are. Like, what do you want out of your university life? It's choosing a program. Such a hard thing. I would just say, you know, know what you want. I would say spend some time just thinking. You know, what do I want for my university life? What do I want for the future? And just not worry about the job that you want, because you never know really with what will happen in the future. Just what you want to do now and what interests you. Because end of the day, it's your GPA or whatever, how well you do in school, right? So it's, if you like what you are studying or like what you are applying and how we could apply it to the real world, I feel like that would just help you choose the program. Like, that's my personal opinion, but of course there's so many other different answers there to how to choose a program.
And we're going to talk about
Yeah.
that in more depth. Any other questions?
Yeah. I don't think so. No. An additional thing I would like to add about myself, I think end of second year, I decided I really wanted to do something very, very business related, like business management. So I added a certificate, like which York does provide, onto my program. And I think that one of those things that even if you're in third year, fourth year, or second year, or first year, it doesn't matter. You can still change your programs, still find the way you want to, I guess, customize your school life to yourself, you know? It doesn't matter, yeah, it's one of the biggest things I would just say. Yeah, go ahead. I personally actually just want to go into law. I know I'm so crazy with the exploration, but I think law is what I want to do. However, business is my second backup. Like, I definitely love the business atmosphere. I think law too, so something mix of that, and just, that's what I personally want to go into. Yep. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
You said slightly different than undecided majors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like process, coordinator, or detour, welfare, and detour.
Sorry.
The detour can be for a number of reasons. So it can be because you haven't got the GPA. We're going to talk about that, how to solve that problem. Or it can be because you haven't got you're having to do the math credits to get into the that kind of thing, where you haven't got the requirements and you're working to get them, and that's your detour. That's what a detour is, right? You really fixed and know where you want to be. We're going to talk in a moment about some of the strategies to sort of support you in getting through that detour successfully. Yeah, was that your question? You were put in undecided major, but you don't know why. Okay, that, you need to speak with April. Okay, all of you should be making an appointment with April. She's posted her hours in the handout. Go have a chat with her. I can't tell you that, but you need to speak with her because there'll be a reason why you were put there. And we don't know, okay, until you've had that advising appointment. Okay, thank you so much. That was great. So what you learned from that is a peer mentor can be very helpful, can give you insight into some of the experiences of student life and how to solve them, the challenges. You asked fairly kind of academic program-related questions, but you can also ask questions about how do I hook up with clubs, how do I get more involved. She's volunteered for this peer mentor program. She's doing a ton of training that is now going to be added to her co-curricular transcript. That's something you might want to ask a peer mentor about, because that's something that will help her get a job. So there's a number of things that I think are good reasons to talk to a peer mentor. So now I want to jump, and this is some of your questions kind of anticipated this next stage. Oh, yes.
So is there another program that actually, because I'm thinking most of us we're in school because we want to get hired.
Absolutely.
We wanna get hired. So if there is that job, that probably would interest somebody, and then we'll just walk towards it. Like, I just basically open to stuff that would get me hired.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is such workshop as a workshop that tells you if you want to be in this area of work, then you need this kind of credit. You need to be in this department. You need to be in this major. Stuff
April.
Well, the Career Center
Yes.
So
Yeah.
go and over there and you'll be able to figure out what your interests are and what kind of major you should be looking
Okay.
at.
Yeah. If you missed the first workshop, we talked about that in the first workshop. We actually did a worksheet about who am I and what career would most match my personality and my skills and my aptitudes. So go back on our website. It's on the handout. I'll show you at the end. You can go back. You can go through the PowerPoint that we're videoing all of these things so people who can't make it can actually go watch that. And there's an online worksheet you can go through that will actually tell you what careers are a good match to you, okay? And then from that, I would say go to the Career Center, and they have additional workshops, and that information is all on the first workshop that we did. But we're going to do a little bit of that today. I want to move to the next stage, which is the my goals and dreams. So you have a thing in your hand, or is it about to be handed out? April's going to hand it out. Okay, so there's a second worksheet. This is going to take you a bit of time to work through. Okay, I want you to just put your answers in, and it's going to speak to something that Salika? Kafilat, I'm sorry. Kafilat, you've really kind of brought into sharp relief with your question, which is, you are very motivated to get a job. Like, that to you is all you can see at this point. You just want, I'm going to spend all this money and spend all this time, and at the end I want to land a job. So there's something happening in your agenda that's very clear that might be different from what how other students are motivated. So this worksheet is going to help think through some of those issues. So I want everybody to it'll take 5 minutes. I want you to get out your pen. I want you to fill in the blanks. Okay, and it requires some thinking on your part of who are you, what are your interests, what are your goals. We'll give it a couple more minutes. I'm going to leave this, you can take this away and do it thoughtfully on your own time. I think you can appreciate this exercise is getting you to really think hard about what are the things that intrinsically motivate you as opposed to externally motivate you. And how can you line that up and be clear about that in your own head. And I think often students in first year haven't taken the time to think deeply about these kinds of questions, about who am I and what is it that's really motivating me. And I guess, so we're gonna move on, but I want to leave you with this, encourage you to do it with some thought and a quiet time when you're alone and not sort of in the company of other people where it feels, And if you want to come back and have a talk about those results, I encourage you to go to the Career Center. Or come and talk to April, or a peer mentor. Once you've got some clarity, because this should have given you some clarity on what skills and aptitudes do you have, right? And then the question becomes, what career would be a good match to those things, right? What we're really looking for you to, encouraging you to kind of aspire to is what I would call the sweet spot, where you're in an academic program that you love, that you will stay up. For me, it was all night reading the books, even though they weren't necessarily required. They were just recommended because they were so interesting. So I'd be up till 3 in the morning reading in poli-sci because I was just, it rocked my world. I didn't know that was going to happen to me. I found it. And you're in an array of courses where you're going to be exposed to a whole different set of things. You need to be tuning in to yourself, to what is it, which of those courses is really speaking to the kinds of values and aptitudes that really attract you. And the sweet spot is when you recognize who you are and you can line that up with a career that's going to be a good fit to those things. That's the sweet spot, right? If you're entirely driven by the question, what can I do that'll get me a job that'll pay a lot of money? If that's your focus and you're not paying attention to who are you, what kind of person are you, what kind of values are important to you, some of those intrinsic things, if you ignore those messages, you're going to end up in a job that you hate for the rest of your life. And none of us wants that for you. We want you to we want to support you in thinking through and recognizing who are you. And like I say, the Career Center, if you go back to the first workshop we did, the Career Center actually offers one-on-one as well as workshops on how to figure some of those things out and get clarity, and then line them up with possible academic career choices that would be a good fit. But another thing that comes out in this worksheet is the question of skills, and of what skills did any of you discover that there's certain skills that you probably would need to build on or work on in order to sort of be better at the future career that you want to be in. And that's crucial, because any of you who are focused on getting a job, let me tell you what employers want. And it's going to surprise you. Most students, it surprises. They want you to be excellent in the soft skills. They want you to have good interpersonal skills. They want you to be able to communicate superbly, to write well, accurately, without error. They want you to be able to speak well to other people, to be persuasive. They want you to be able to use your mind to analyze and understand, problem solve in situations. They can't teach those skills to you. They want to hire you with those skills, and they'll train you up to whatever it is you need to have, right? So those generic skills, I mean, I've done workshops over the years with the government looking for employees where they have internship programs and they're hiring right out of university. And those are they keep saying it again and again, those are the skills. If students do not have those skills when they graduate, they're not really employable. Okay, so surprise, surprise, yes, you're focusing on a discipline in your studies, but you've also got some really basic skills to bring up to speed. And now some disciplines it's going to be the math things, and I can't really speak to that because that's not my forte, but I am going to speak about some of the skills that you can work on while you're here. There's tons of support for building those skills, and you need to be proactive. In other words, you need to do more than just take your courses, study, and pass your exams. You need to reach out to those programs that are going to help you build those skills that will end up leading to a good job. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of those. There we go, meaningful connections. So I'm calling it connections. It's really about building your capability to do stuff. But it's, you know, how are you going to learn this? So a lot of first-year students struggle because what's the longest paper anyone wrote in high school? Just out of curiosity. How long? 5? Anyone write a 10-page paper in high school? One person. Okay, most of you don't have a clue how to write a longer paper, right? You haven't had that experience. Your profs most likely will just assume you know how to do that. And it's a different ball game at university. So number one, writing skills. How are you going to strengthen your writing skills? We have resources on campus. Don't worry about the links because you've got it in your handout. Resources on campus to help you build those writing skills. Your employers will need you to be able to communicate clearly, error-free in writing when they hire you. So this is a skill you can work on. They offer workshops. They also offer one-on-one essay tutoring. You come in with a draft, they'll sit down and talk to you about it. They will not edit your paper, but they will teach you how to edit your paper, which is basically what you need. You need to do this for yourself. Their workshops are amazing. They're listed. You'll get notices about these workshops. You need to be proactive and make the connection with that unit to help work on that. So kind of like each term, think of building in one workshop from each of these things I'm about to talk to, and you'll really be building muscle around your employability and your capability in those first year courses. Writing skills is one thing. Another are language skills. If you are an ESL student, English is your second language, and you may be worried about speech, about understanding, about writing, we have an ESL Open Learning Center, and again, it's got workshops, it's got one-on-one, it'll help you with teaching you how to edit, all of the above. And that service is there. You have to reach out to get the help. You can't just sit back and think it's all going to come miraculously to your door. You have to reach out and make a connection and get the help, okay? But going to one of their workshops, asking for an appointment to speak with someone, that's a proactive thing that you can do to help build those skills that at the end of the day are going to lead you to a job. Spark, and have any of you heard of Spark? Yes, 1 hand, 2 hands, 3 hands, 4 hands, any mark takers? Going, gone, 5 hands. Okay, which part of Spark have you used? Have you looked at?
It was on the website.
Yeah? How to put an essay together. Has anyone seen a different part of Spark? Yeah? Sorry?
It's just the basic outline of what you need to do, to complete that essay from the beginning to the end.
Okay, so it's completing an essay. What else? Academic honesty, which is often for high school students, you think you know it all, and often you get slammed, you don't know it all. So it's going to walk you through what's the university level expectations for that really important stuff. This is a York developed website. It's actually housed on the library website. But if you just go to the York main page and type Spark, you'll land on it. Even if your profs aren't telling you about it, I'm telling you this is gold. We have internationally, now that this is up and it's open, internationally this is being borrowed by other universities. This is how good it is, okay? And it's designed for you making that transition to first year from a high school, or maybe you haven't been in university for a while, to help support you in understanding what are kind of the academic norms and expectations of how to do these basic things. And I would say just on your own, if your profs aren't asking you, go on your own before you hand in an essay, go through the different segments. Some of it will be familiar, but some of it will be new. And it'll bring you up to speed on what are the expectations at university level. It'll help you with research, how to navigate the library, how to do what to look for, how to distinguish an academic from a non-academic source. All of those kinds of things are incredibly important skills that you need to be successful. And again, those are transferable skills. Those are skills that an employer will want to know, have you got them? Do you know how to write? Do you know how to identify a thesis? Do you know how to do good research? These are all important skills. And finally, and often students, I think, leave this off the list, but sometimes I would say it should be top of the list, because if you don't have this, your act together on this front, everything else can cascade down and kind of crash. So time management can be a big issue for first-year students who underestimate how much work it takes to do a university course. You should right now be budgeting at least 8 to 10 hours per course for your university work if you hope to succeed. If you've budgeted less in your timetable and think you can carry a full-time job and a full-time course load, you are going to crash and burn. I've seen it so many times, it breaks my heart. So the Counseling and Development Center offers workshops on time management, on handling the stress. I can speak personally about things like exam anxiety. I was somebody who suffered from exam anxiety. In my first year, I couldn't write an exam. I shook so hard in one of the exams that they escorted me out because I was making the tables rattle and disturbing the other students. That's how nervous I was. It's because I got some counseling that helped me with how to de-stress that I was able to do exams later in my life. I could come back and do it, but it was counseling that helped me. Okay, so many of you will face challenges of a personal nature in your first year. You need to know who to reach out for help. Okay, counseling and development also does all the work around disability. It's also housed in that same unit. So again, we've given you the links to this. You can go reach out, but they will offer workshops. And each of you will be getting, not from my office, but you will be getting an email about once every 2 weeks that will list, here's all the workshops and things you can go to. My strong advice, again, around skill development, you will not have another opportunity like this in your lifetime. Once you leave university, nobody is going to be reaching out to you and say, you know what? We know how to make something better for you. You just come to this thing and we'll help you out. You're not going to get it. This is it. This is the time where that's going to happen for you. So don't delete that email. Go through it and, okay, so once a month, pick something and just show up, go to it. Learn something about yourself, about how to do something. Build those skills. That you have to reach out and take those opportunities because those are the things that will translate into better coursework and better skills translating into a job. Okay, so they're generic, but they're going to help you no matter where you end up landing in your program. And I'm kind of emphasizing that that's an important connection you have to make. Now, the next one, equally important, is you've got some programs in mind. Do you know where to go from here? How to ask questions, how to reach out. So, where do you go for advising in a program? Rule number 1, each program has an academic advisor. Your challenge, and I think the York website does make this, is to find that person. And how do you do that? I'm going to suggest that you start with the York directory. Do y'all know the York directory? It's a really important, see that thing? York directory. You know where that takes you? Takes you to a directory. So down here under department, you write, I don't know, let's just play with something. History. You type in, and it will tell you, this is the easiest way I find. It'll tell you history programs, so you want history and LAMPS. There you go, general inquiries. I'd start with that phone number and I'd say, I want an advising appointment with someone in history. And they will hook you up with the advisor for that program. So those of you who are considering 2 options, now you know how you reach out to the advisor in that program. That's number 1 place you go. If you've got a problem in a course that's not in your major, let's say, right? Or a problem in a course, you would go to the program that mounts that course and do the same thing. I need to speak to someone about a course in your program. Okay, so the directory is like fabulous for navigating York. I don't do any of the other website stuff. I just go right to the directory and ask for the program, and then you're there, you're in. So you have to start with that, and it'll either be a program assistant, usually it's a program assistant, sometimes it's the undergrad program director, but they're the people who will know about their program requirements. The second thing is connect to faculty in the program you want to be in. And we're going to talk in the next workshop about how to do that. We're going to build on that. But meanwhile, programs will mount, like I just was one yesterday for poli-sci, my program, we had a lunch hour reception and hundreds of students showed up, and it was like for each faculty member there were 4 or 5 students chatting up with each prof. Find out whether that program has got such events. Go show up, introduce yourself. I'm interested in your program. You all are the most coveted people on campus right now because every program wants you. So they're not going to say, I don't want to talk to you. They're going to say, come talk to me. Like they will want to talk to you and get you to join their program. So connect to the faculty, connect with the whatever, programs, activities that program mounts, and also connect with each program's affiliated with a college. So Vanier College has Business and Society is affiliated here. So we have student clubs in that college. So you can also reach out to the affiliated college and ask. But start with that directory, go to the program, and there's where you start asking your questions. Student clubs in the program you're considering. Go talk to the student clubs. When are they meeting? Show up, ask questions, find out. Are they nice? Do they like their program? Upper level, what's it like? What kind of jobs are you considering? All of those things you can ask either of a peer mentor or, now I did do the peer mentor thing, so I've already talked about that. That's another way to do it. And we have peer mentors in a huge range of disciplines. So you'll be assigned a peer mentor, but if you are considering something else, you can go talk to the one in that discipline. We'll be advertising what the discipline is of each of our peer mentors. So, you know, and each of you will get a peer mentor, so you must sort of start by talking to that person, and then if you want to talk to someone else, you've got that opportunity. We've talked about April with her contact information, which is on the handout. And she is the advisor, so expect each of you to at least have one appointment with April this term. Like, just drop in, say hello. We want to know if you've successfully transitioned to another program. If you're going to do that, talk to April, right? We want to keep track of you, find out how you're doing, help you out with that process and that decision. And then I've given you, again, this is the handout that has all of the resource links that I've talked about here are in the handout that I've given you. So I'm going to ask you, before we wrap up, there is an evaluation sheet. It's green, and they're all green, oh dear. Of just, you know, what was useful about this workshop. I have built into this workshop answers to questions students had from the first one. So part of what I covered were things they had questions about. Do you see your evaluation sheet? I'd like you to fill it out. We will be following up. If you want April to contact you directly, include your email, your name, your email, so she'll know to follow up. If you want to make an appointment with her, she'll be in touch. But I really want your feedback. We are offering future workshops. We can't do them all in one. The next one will be very important. It's, I believe, November 6th. And it's the one to prepare you for November 8th. November 8th is kind of the campus, the program fair. Every program on campus will be there. It is your opportunity to, in one place at one time, go and talk to the programs you're interested in. So we want to prepare you well for that event. So our November 6th workshop is an important one. So please show up for that one. But meanwhile, I'd like to hear from you how you found this workshop today and any ways we can help you further. Yes?
First, general education. It says this is for
Yes. Yes.
But the fact that I want to go, it's not related.
Right. So this is a question for April. So you're in LAMPS, but you want to go into, what's the faculty you want into? Science? Computer science. So, April, do you want to come here and answer it from here? You can stand out of the light.
Yes, okay. So the way it works with Gen Eds and doing it in our faculty and then transferring to another faculty is if you complete all your general education requirements here and then you make a switch to another faculty, you do not have to do their general education requirements. But if you leave here without completing the general education, then you will have to do the general education in another faculty.
They asked for before social science.
This sounds like an appointment.
So if I just take humanity and social science,
I think we might have to set up an appointment.
Yeah, that's why she's here.
Yes, yes.
That's a kind of a very detailed question, and
Yes.
it's probably best answered in an appointment.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry.
it's okay.
Do transfer credits like limit the electives that one can take?
They
Because
could.
they take up most of some of the credits, and does that stop someone from like choosing different courses?
That's another
outside of
appointment.
major?
Yeah, that's another appointment
That's
as well.
another appointment?
Yes, yeah. But I know you, Brandon and
That's a
Armin,
good
so
question.
yeah. Anything else that anyone wanted to ask me? Okay, well, you guys have my hours, so if you need to set up an appointment or you want to drop in, that's fine.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.